Introduction to Biology, Part 1. What is the biology? How do we know that something is living? What is the smallest possible unit that exhibits all of the characteristics of life? We will find answers on these questions, and also I'll talk about classifying organisms into 3 domains and 6 kingdoms of life. So what is the biology? If you look outside your window or even around your house, I'm sure you can find dozens of living things. If you live somewhere more rural, you might have even greater biodiversity or types of species. All of these living things that make up your world, including you, fall under the category of biology. I think we should start with these 2 words, bios and logos. These are 2 Greek words which term biology is derived from, and bio or bios meaning life, and logi or logos meaning study. So simply said, a study of life. The science of life and the living organisms. Biologists' questions can be ambitious. They may ask how a single tiny cell becomes a tree or a human, how the human mind works, or how the different forms of life in a forest interact. When questions occur to you as you observe the natural world, you are thinking like a biologist. More than anything else, biology is a quest, an ongoing inquiry about the nature of life. At the most fundamental level, we may ask, what is the life? Even a child realizes that a dog or a plant is alive, while a rock or car is not. Yet the phenomenon we call life defies a simple, one-sentence definition. We recognize life by what living things do. And how do we know that something is living? Well, all living organisms share characteristics of life, as a movement, reproduction, sensitivity, nutrition, excretion, respiration, and growth. And we can easily remember these characteristics by mnemonic, Mrs. Nurse. And movement is when animals move to find food and keep away from predators, or plants move to face the light. Reproduction is the ability to produce offspring to keep the species in existence. Sensitivity is responding and reacting to the environment. Nutrition, animals need food for the respiration. Plants need minerals from the soil. Excretion is simply getting rid of waste. Respiration is turning food into energy. And growth, growing larger and stronger, is important for survival. I would add 3 more basic characteristics of life to this list. Is order, regulation, and homeostasis. Order. All organisms consist of 1 or more cells with highly ordered structures. Atoms make up molecules which construct cellular organelles, which are contained within cells. This organization continues at higher levels in multicellular organisms. Regulation. All organisms have regulatory mechanisms that coordinate the organism's internal functions. This function includes supplying cells with nutrients, transporting substances through the organisms, and many others. Homeostasis. All organisms maintain relatively constant internal conditions, different from their environment, a process called homeostasis. And the last question is coming. What is the smallest possible unit that exhibits all of the characteristics of life? It's a cell. They are the structural and functional units of all living organisms. Actually, all living organisms are made of 1 or more cells, so we can call them as a building block of life. Let's talk about classifying organisms. Why is it important, and why do scientists classify? Well, biologists have so far identified and named about 1.8 million species of organisms. To date, known species include at least 100,000 species of fungi, 290,000 plant species, and 57,000 vertebrate species. That's the animals with the backbones. And 1 million insect species, more than half of all known forms of life. Not to mention the myriad types of single-celled organisms. Researchers identify thousands of additional species each year. Estimates of the total number of species range from about 10 million to over 100 million. So, as you can see, the number of species of living organisms which have been discovered runs into millions, so a system of classification is essential. Classification is a process of grouping things based on their similarities. Historically, scientists have classified the diversity of life forms into species and broader groupings by careful comparisons of structure, function, and other obvious features. In the last few decades, new methods of assessing species relationships, such as comparisons of DNA sequences, have led to a revaluation of the classification of life. Although this revaluation is ongoing, biologists currently divide all organisms into 3 groups, called domains: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. Bacteria and archaea are prokaryotic. All the eukaryotes are in domain eukarya. This domain includes 4 subgroups: kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Animalia, and the protists. The 3 kingdoms are distinguished partly by their modes of nutrition. Plants produce their own sugars and other food molecules by photosynthesis. Fungi absorb nutrients in dissolved form from their surroundings, and animals obtain food by eating and digesting other organisms. Animalia is, of course, the kingdom to which we belong. Hi, I'm Andrew Massey. I hope that you found something interesting in these basic biology tutorials, and also learned a bit about the tremendous facts that create my, your, and everyone's world.